This is Charter Local Edition. My name is Brad Pomerance in the Bay Area at the California Republican Party Convention, having a great time, and we are joined by Andrew Barnett. He is the Executive Director of the Committee to Restore America's Greatness, which is what?
We are a pro-Trump political action committee. We're a bifurcated political action committee by law, which means we are a super PAC. That's the sexy Jello shot term.
Of course.
Yeah.
And so for our viewers, what I understand that connotes is that you do not work with the Trump campaign.
No.
Specifically do not.
That's right. Yeah. There's an iron wall, iron curtain, however you want to define it, but there's zero coordination, zero communication between ourselves and the campaign.
It's, as we call it, an independent expenditure.
Absolutely.
Why did this organization, this committee start? What was the thinking?
The genesis and the genome of it dates back to, this is nothing new in politics.
It is nothing new.
Well, when volunteers take a look at a campaign and they notice on their own what's lacking to a degree, they step up and get it done. Us Republicans, it's funny, Republicans really only a four-letter word. It's spelled D-U-T-Y. When we see something, we do something. We don't have to say anything about it. We act and we move on it. So in a few people's minds, there were some deficiencies and there were a few things on the outlier which could have been augmented in order to help Mr. Trump. And that's purely what the organization said to do.
So let's talk about Mr. Trump. You have been a supporter of his for some time,
that's
even
right.
before his current candidacy. What draws you to him?
Yeah, dating back over 5 years ago.
Really?
Yeah, I was a draft Trump chairman, 2012.
Come on!
Chairman of California, yeah.
Very cool.
It was interesting. It was the first time in my adult life, actually in my life. I was born in 1981.
One could argue.
I'm going to be real.
Right.
The only time I felt the actual opportunity to vote for a candidate who was enthusiastically honest. And I mean that with all sincerity.
And it's funny you say that, because some folks say that the biggest plus and the biggest minus about Mr. Trump is his honesty.
That's how I feel. I mean, the guy's brutally honest, like it or not, indifferent to it. He's going to be honest,
But could one argue that some things are better left unsaid? That if you omit something, it's not lying, it's just not saying it. You gotta kind of play poker with Putin or, the mullahs or whoever it is, and so.
Well, I agree. Just on some level, sure, certain things are viewed as untouchable, but it's not impolitic, nor is it impolite, to be honest. There's a wise theologian from the 20th century, Robert Nesta Marley, said that the truth is not an offense. To be honest with somebody is not offensive. If you're discussing something which might be viewed as negative, well, that person that committed that act, they're the person that you're castigating and drawing a judgment upon.
So let's talk about some of the issues that Mr. Trump has taken, which has caused a lot of excitement and a lot of consternation.
Sure.
Talk about, for example, his decision, and I know you're not part of the campaign,
sure.
So I think in some ways I'm glad you're here, because you're somewhat free.
Hey, I can be honest,
exactly.
Right?
Well, one could argue, as it relates to Muslims.
Yes.
He initially called for a ban of Muslims coming into the country temporarily. He's called for registering Muslims. He's called for tracking Muslims. A poll taken of GOP voters say 65% support that view.
Yeah, not so certain he called for a registry. I mean, I don't think he went that far per se. Look, I understand what you're saying. A viewer, from the standpoint of somebody watching him talk, could take that away with him. Fair. Okay.
So, look, it's a tricky time right now, and when you see those numbers, it's hard to really get a sense of what that really means. Mm-hmm. I mean, do we really want to exclude, a family from Egypt to come to Disneyland? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, the situation as I see it and I perceive it, is we have porous borders. We don't know what's being shipped in the United States. I mean, take for instance, if you have a child and you're letting your child chew on a toy, maybe a piece of a toy that comes from China, you understand what's in that paint?
We hear there may be lead.
Maybe, right? There may be. Now, I'm not going to call you a bigot because you said that there might be lead in that paint. So all we're asking to do is to stop and see what's coming in and what's going out, and that we have a better understanding. Look, as far as for immigration goes, my fiance is a legal immigrant. She came here legally.
Illegal.
Legal.
Legal.
She came here legally. She came from Iran. She was thrown out by the mullahs. Her father was imprisoned thrice, and he had to sneak out on his own. And she had a green card. She couldn't vote. I know green card holders can't vote. Illegal immigrants in California right now can vote.
Well, no.
Yes, they can.
They can't vote.
Absolutely, they can.
How?
It's by Constitution. Illegal immigrants can vote in state elections. However, our ballots in California also have the federal races on there as well. Now, when you apply for a driver's license in California, you are instantly enrolled as a registered voter. So illegal aliens
but under AB 60, is it? You can get a driver's license if you're undocumented, but it says you're undocumented, so you're not supposed to be registered, no?
No, you're automatically registered to vote, and it's legal by Constitution for states to allow illegal immigrants
But let's go back to
vote.
Trump.
Sure.
Let's go back to Trump. Why do you believe he has caused such excitement amongst portions of the population that have never been involved in politics?
Sure. I think a lot of people refer to this kind of broad, monolithic blob, sort of swath of people as establishment. I tend to view them as I call it the shut up, stop, stay down, and go away coalition.
Okay.
It doesn't exist just in the Republican Party.
Right.
The once noble Democrat Party has it as well. Look how Hillary treats the Bernie supporters. You know, we're constantly told in our lives to shut up, stop, stay down, and go away. And the issue is the largest minority there is the individual. We all know how awful it feels when we feel alone.
Why do those people feel so emboldened by the Trump candidacy? I mean,
because he's telling them, come on in, speak up, tell me how you want to help, and let's do this together.
I want to talk about the Electoral Map. I want to presume that Mr. Trump is the nominee and Mrs. Clinton is the nominee. You know, you could look
It's a bold call.
It's a bold call. So you're a college graduate, you went to law school, you even got my law degree.
But anyway, you're a mathlete.
Exactly.
Okay.
What I want to get a sense is, look, traditionally we're going to see, that we're going to have, certain states are going to go Democratic, certain states are going to go Republican.
Sure.
I wonder, are there certain states that just get thrown to the wind, and as a result, all of a sudden Pennsylvania is competitive for Mr. Trump and Georgia is competitive for Mrs. Clinton?
Sure. I think a lot of what we view as traditional electoral mapping dates back to some of the lackluster efforts of Karl Rove with the first Bush. When they took a look at the map, they said, let's specify our policies and our directives only upon winning a few select states. Reagan didn't limit his message to a couple states here and there.
Well, he had a good 1984, that's for sure.
Yeah.
49 states.
He did pretty well in 1980 as well.
Yeah, but 49 states in 94.
Some would argue Nixon did a pretty darn good job in both of his elections.
He did.
And traditionally, if you look at the historical context and the broad scheme throughout the United States history, presidents ran on a nationwide campaign.
That's what I'm trying to get
so Trump's message is going to be more of a national campaign.
Are we going to
and there will be states. You're going to have the Midwestern states. You're going to have a lot of states along the Great Lakes. You're going to have some states bordering on the South, like Virginia, North Carolina. You're going to have an issue, and if you're a Democrat, you're going to have an issue in Wisconsin and Michigan.
So what you're saying is you do believe that bluer states are now in play. But
Absolutely.
If you can be honest, are redder states now in play?
To some degree, every red state is in play each and every year, and here's why I say that.
Okay.
And because they've been diminishing as far as capability and registration. Sure, Arizona, Nevada even now is a purple state somehow in the past few years, and reason being is because what ends up happening is John McCain, as a standard bearer for the party, doesn't help Arizona, and sure as hell didn't help the electoral map in the past. So if you follow what I'm telling you here, when these guys have this very narrow perception of what they think freedom is, which is only limited to their friends about what they want when they want it to spend with our money, that's why the map shrinks.
Does Mr. Trump win in November?
Absolutely.
How much?
Well, look, he's going to get over 300 electoral votes.
His name is Andrew Barnett. He is the executive director of the Committee to Restore American Greatness, a PAC that is supporting the candidacy of Donald Trump for President of the United States. My name is Brad Pomerance at the California Republican Party Convention, Charter Local Edition.